a wonderful Yuletide season and a happy, prosperous, and spirit-filled 2018. Word for the day, Isaiah 9:6-7. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The seal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this, shall we pray. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for the return of the wondrous spell of this Christmas season that brings its own sweet joy into our jaded and troubled hearts. Forbid it, Lord, that we should celebrate without understanding, that we celebrate or, like our counterparts so long ago, fail to see the star or to hear the song of glorious promise. As our hearts yield to the spirit of Christmas, may we discover that it is thy Holy Spirit who comes, not a sentiment, but a power, to remind us of the only way by which there may be peace on the earth and goodwill among men. May we not spend Christmas, but keep it, that we may be kept in its hope. Through him who emptied himself in coming to us, that we might be filled with peace and joy in returning to God. Honorable members, may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace and protection throughout the Yuletide season and always. In Jesus' name, who taught us to pray, saying, Our Father, art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Have a wonderful day. In Jesus' name.
Gilbert Venice, Peter Turnquest, Brent Simonet, Desmond Bannister, Glenwood Wells, Jeffrey Lloyd, Dr. Dwayne Sands, Marvin Day, Frankie Campbell, Dionisio Diagilo, Michael Pintar, Darren Henfield, Romuald Ferreira, Anisha Rose, Renzo Wood, Alfred Johnson, Philip Davis, Vaughn Miller, Lakeisha Parker Edson, Hiram Lewis, Carlton Bogart, James Aldridge, Travis Robinson, Adrian Gibson, Donald Sanders, Frederick McAlpine, Hank Johnson, Mark Yoon, Michael Cook, Miriam Recky Emmanuel, Reese Shipman, Reuben Rami, Richie Mackey, Shannon Don Cartwright, Chanel Ferguson, Lennon Hannah Martin, Heiko Clark, Chester Cooper.
Good morning, honorable members. Let me begin by wishing each and every one of you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. A happy, prosperous, and productive New Year. I also wish to extend special greetings to the wonderful people of the Nassau Village constituency that exercise their right in the democratic process to elect me as your member of parliament. In particular, I want to thank those people from the Gleniston Gardens area, Seabreeze area, the Hope Gardens area, Redland Acres, Malcolm Allotment, Linden Pinland Estates, Mount Tabor Estates, and the Soldier Road sections of that constituency. And of course, they say it's so nice, they name it twice. The Nassau Village subdivision proper, after which the entire constituency is named. I also want to say at this time that this is a time when we reflect on the birth of Christ and really the reason for the season. When families come together, friends come together, joy, peace, happiness, many gifts are provided, and there's a lot of forgiveness. And so we are at this moment in time where we are not adversarial in our approach. We are all embracing in the spirit of the democracy, where there is equity, good representation, freedom, and justice. Merry Christmas to the entire Bahamas. Okay, as we move through the agenda, introduction and swearing in of new members. Lying of documents by ministers. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Bamboo Town.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg leave to lay on the table the Grand Bahama Port Area Investment Incentives Extension of Time for Application Number 4, Order 2017.
Order that the document be brought up. For the benefit of members, this document is the Grand Bahama Port Area Investment Incentive Extension of Time for Application Number 4, Order 2017. Order that the document do lie on the table. Further laying of documents by ministers. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Kalani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I beg leave to lay on the table copies of the following: the International Tax Cooperative Act Amendment, the Schedule, Republic of Finland Order 2017, the International Tax Corporation Amendment Act 2017, Appointed Date Notice 2017, the Commercial Enterprise Act 2017, Appointed Date Notice 2017, the Bahamas Registered Stock Directions 2017, Bahamas Registered Stock 2027 to 2037, and the Bahamas Development Bank audited financial statements for the year end December 31st, 2016.
Order that the documents be brought up. Order that the documents to lie on the table. Further laying of documents by ministers. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Bamboo Town.
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Thank you. Statements and communications by ministers. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Kalani.
Speaker, I'd also use this opportunity to lay on the table the regulations for National Heroes Act.
Thank you. Order that the document regulation be brought up.
Regulations, I will do the same. Mr. Speaker, with a profound sense of the importance of this moment in the shaping of a greater national consciousness, I rise in order to lay on the table of this honorable House the National Honors Regulations 2017. This is truly a bipartisan moment. It is a moment beyond partisan divide. It is a moment for the collective celebration of the Bahamian spirit. And I wish at this time to acknowledge the work of the previous administration in the development and passage of the National Honors Act 2016. A national honors system is a means of expressing the gratitude of a nation for those who have given valuable service. Such a system serves as an inspiration for the nation, including our children and young people. We must showcase the excellence and spirit of service of those who devote themselves as patriots in pursuit of a genuine common good. National Heroes speaks of what the nation is capable of producing, thus promoting national pride. National honors also serve as inspiration for current and future generations to give service to the nation and to set noble goals for themselves, their local communities, and their nation. A national honors system is about national and civic pride. It is about showing respect and honor for those who are so deserving. I wish to acknowledge and thank the many individuals over the many years who have argued and campaigned for the development of a system for the nation. To honor those who have given significant service to our country. Mr. Speaker, the laying of these regulations will enable the appointment of the advisory committee to advise both the Prime Minister and Her Excellency, the Governor General, on individuals who are considered by the committee to be worthy of recommendation and the award of any of the several ranks in the several days, which comprise several orders, which comprise our own Bahamian system of national honors. The development of a Bahamian system of national honors will greatly enhance the ability to recognize a wider cross-section of our fellow citizens who have offered exemplary public, national, and community service. It is important to note that a national honors system must be zealously guarded to prevent overindulgence and potential misuse. There must be balance and prudence in the grant of honors. A national honors system must not become a partisan political system, given mostly to awarding certain categories of individuals. It is important for us, Mr. Speaker, to have a system of recognition which is capable of expressing in a very meaningful way the grateful thanks of a people and a nation to those who deserve special recognition. Such recognition is due those who have truly given sacrificially towards the charitable, cultural, athletic, artistic, political, commercial, and social development of the Bahamas. This recognition includes public and governmental service, as well as service in the uniformed branches of government. While the existing system of royal honors will persist, it should be noted that the regalia and outfitting of our system of national honors will reflect truly Bahamian symbols and emblems. It is my fervent hope that our new system of honors will stimulate even more national pride. It is also my fervent hope that our new system will encourage even greater numbers of Bahamians in their daily endeavors to strive constantly to advance the highest and best values of our Commonwealth. For clarification, let me respond to a question asked by a number of people. The National Honors Act 2016 clearly states, for the avoidance of doubt, any honor conferred upon any citizen of the Bahamas by Her Majesty the Queen shall not be extinguished by reason of this act coming into force, or the appointment of such a person to an order, or the award of any other honor prescribed by this act. Additionally, nothing in this act shall cause a person who has been conferred with an honor awarded by Her Majesty the Queen or any other honor to be ineligible for conferment of an honor under this act. Mr. Speaker, I wish to note some specifics of the new honor system. All awards under this act shall be announced by the 10th day of July annually. Conferment of all honors shall take place on the second Monday in October annually. The Advisory Committee on National Honors will comprise 10 people recommended by the Prime Minister and various other officers as designated by the Act. The committee has the responsibility to investigate, to determine upon whom an honor should be bestowed, and to report to the Chancellor, who is the Governor General, their findings. There are a number of honors called Societies of Honors pursuant to Section 5 of this Act. And these honors include 1, the Order of National Hero; 2, the Order of the Nation; 3, the Order of the Bahamas; 4, the Order of Excellence; 5, the Order of Distinction; 6, the Order of Merit; and 7, the Order of Lignum Vitae. 8, any other honor that may be constituted by the Governor General by order at a later date. Each society shall have its own rules and rights and privileges. 1, example, the Order of National Hero. Those who are so honored shall have the title Right Excellent before their name. This honor may be granted to during an individual's life or after their death. As the Act notes, an individual who has been honored as a national hero has A, made a seminal contribution to the Bahamas that has altered the course of the history of the Bahamas in a positive way, and B, given service to the Bahamas which has been exemplified by visionary and pioneering leadership, extraordinary achievement, and the attainment of the highest excellence, which has rebounded to the honor of the Bahamas, and which service and attainment have been acknowledged as a source of inspiration by a significant portion of the nation, or C, has, through that person's heroic exploits and sacrifice, have gone beyond their personal and historic limitations, contributed to the improvement of the economic, spiritual, and social conditions of the nation as a whole. 2, Mr. Speaker, the order of the nation. Members shall be the Chancellor as the principal member, any former Governor General, the Prime Minister, and any former Prime Ministers. Members will have the title Most Honorable before their names. 3, the Order of Excellence. The Order of Excellence, membership is restricted to heads of foreign governments and other non-citizens who have given exemplary service to the Bahamas. Members of this order will have honorable before their names. 4, the Order of the Bahamas. The Order of the Bahamas has 3 ranks of membership: campaign, officer, and member. An individual may be appointed directly to any rank within the order, or he or she may be promoted from one rank to the other. A companion shall enjoy the title Right Honorable before their name. An officer shall enjoy the title Honorable before his or her name, and a member shall have the letters MB after his or her name. The Order of Distinction has 3 ranks of membership: companion, officer, and members. An individual may be appointed directly to any rank within the order, or he may be promoted from one rank to the other. The Order of Merit. The Order of Merit has 3 ranks of membership: companion, officer, and members. An individual may be appointed directly to any rank within the order, or he or she may be promoted from one rank to the other. In the Order of Lignum Vitae, members shall place the letters L.V. after their names. I also note, Mr. Speaker, that there will be distinguished service medals in order of exceptional service by Bahamians serving in public service, military service, police, fire and prison services, and uniformed services. Mr. Speaker, it is the intention of the government that our national honors system comes into effect so that the first honorees are appointed next year with fitting observances, including on National Heroes Day 2018. I thank you very much, Speaker.
Order that the documents be brought up. Order that the documents to lie on the table. further statements and communication by ministers? The chair recognizes the honorable member for Kalani.
Thank you, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. That's what choked me. Mr. Speaker, I rise in order to communicate to this honorable House that as a result of the strenuous and decisive efforts of my government over the past several months since May 2017, the Bahamas has, yesterday, been invited to the coordinating body of the OECD's multilateral convention. For the automatic exchange of tax information to join the multilateral convention. Members of this House might recall that upon our election to office, the Bahamas faced the threat of immediate blacklisting by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and the European Union on or about the 30th day of June 2017. We faced blacklisted if we failed to give a definitive indication of our commitment to apply for membership to the Multilateral Convention for Automatic Exchange of Tax Information. My government gave the requested commitment and indicated our desire to join the Multilateral Convention before the end of June 2017. We immediately commenced taking the steps required to secure the necessary invitation from the OECD. A special interministerial task force comprised of the Deputy Prime Minister, the member for East Grand Bahama, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, the Minister of Financial Services, the member for St. Anne's, the Honorable Brent Simnett, and the Attorney General, Senator, the Honorable Carl Bethel, was constituted to coordinate the government's accession process to the Multilateral Convention, pursuant to the commitment given towards the end of June 2017. Members should be aware that despite the fact that the previous government signed the convention on bilateral basis in 2014, they nonetheless failed and to obtain the required number of bilateral tax exchange agreements with other countries, particularly members of the G20 and European Union. This was necessary to comply with the commitments given to the OECD in 2014. The files show that it was only in December 2016, more than 2 years after committing to do so, that letters were sent out addressed to 43 countries. I took out controversial stuff. By March 2017, only 4 bilateral agreements were reached. This was woefully short of the commitment given 2014. The file also shows, the Speaker, that in March 2017, the OECD wrote directly to the then Prime Minister to invite him to consider whether to cause the Bahamas to also apply to join the inclusive framework of the European Union's Base Erosion and Profit Shifting Initiative, more commonly referred to as the BEPS Initiative. This letter of invitation remained unanswered based on the contents of the file. It should be recalled that the leader of the opposition took great exception to the statement that I issued on this matter earlier this month. However, unfortunately, the facts are what they are. In view of the precarious situation that was inherited by the current administration, my government responded aggressively to this matter while being simultaneously pressed to address the recommendations of the CFATF Final Mutual Evaluation Report released in mid-July 2017. The outstanding efforts of the Interministerial Task Force, senior officials, and industry regulators, coupled with direct input from several industry groupings, such as the Bahamas Financial Services Board, BFSB, and the Association of International Banks and Trusts, AIBT, have all greatly contributed to the Bahamas being invited to sign and accede to the multilateral convention. We have thus moved away from the threat of being blacklisted. Mr. Speaker, despite our satisfaction with the significant progress made to date, there remains much to be done to mitigate other pending threats to the financial services. Following receipt of a letter November 7, 2017, forwarded to the government from the BEPS Code and Conduct Group advising that the country had been given a reprieve from blacklisting by the European Union until February 2018, a series of industry briefing meetings were sponsored by the Ministries of Finance and Financial Services and the Office of the Attorney General with the assistance of the CRS Working Group, senior officials and regulators to focus on the issues listed in the letter. A letter was signed on the 11th December 2017 and issued by the Ministry of Finance to the OECD Code of Conduct Group, confirming that the Bahamas commits to complying with the minimum standards, action items 5, 6, 13, and 14 of the 15 BEPS Action Plan. All BEPS Action Plan comprises of 15 actions organized around 3 main pillars. 1, the coherence of corporate tax at international level. 2, a realignment of taxation and substance. And 3, transparency coupled with certainty and predictability. The minimum standards that we will commit to adhere to will involve the following considerations. 1, Action 5. Action 5 on harmful tax practices. This action is comprised of 2 angles. The prevention of the harmful nature of preferential tax regimes and a transparency framework that will apply to tax rulings. 2, Action 6. Action 6 on treaty abuse prevention and tax treaty shopping. Provisions in double tax treaties to prevent treaty abuse, inclusive of treaty shopping, by implementing the use of conduit companies to channel investments through jurisdictions with favorable tax treaties in order to obtain reduced tax rates. Don't feel bad. I had to study all this last night to understand it. Action 3. Number 3, Action 13 on country-by-country reporting and other documentation requirements will give tax administrations a global picture where M&E profits, that is multilateral enterprises, tax and economic activities are reported, and the ability to use this information to assess transfer pricing and other BEPS risk so they can focus audit resources where they will be most effective. M&Es will report their revenues, pre-tax profits, income tax paid and accrued, number of employees, stated capital, retained earnings, and tangible assets in each jurisdiction where they operate. The implementation package provides guidance to ensure that information is provided to the tax administration in a timely manner, that confidentiality is preserved, and that the information is used appropriately. It is recommended that the first country-by-country reports be required to be filed by MNE's fiscal year starting from 1st of January 2016. It is acknowledged that some jurisdictions may need time to follow their particular domestic legislative process in order to make necessary adjustments to the law. The filing requirements will be on MNEs with an annual consolidated group revenue equal to or exceeding euro 750 million or a near equivalent in domestic currency. 4. Action 14 on dispute resolution mechanisms, improvement of the effectiveness of cross-border tax dispute resolution between tax administrations. One of the areas focused on the BEPS letter 7th November 2017 was that of the Bahamas becoming a signatory to the OECD Convention of the Mutual Administrative Assistance in Tax Matters, MAC, and the Companion Multilateral Competent Authority Agreement, MCAA. Today, I can say that we have complied with this particular concern of the OECD, and the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Financial Services have diverted their planned itinerary to travel to the city of Paris for the purposes of signing the multilateral convention pursuant to the invitation issued yesterday. Oh, I see why I didn't take finance. The MCAA was signed yesterday by the DPM and the Minister of Finance in San Marino. The industry CRS guidance notes will shortly be presented to Cabinet for approval and will subsequently be released to the financial sector. The issue that have given the review group pause and which will now require focused consideration is that of the OECD's directive and jurisdictions should not facilitate offshore structures and arrangements aimed at attracting profits which do not reflect real economic activity in the jurisdiction. The Code of Conduct Group has advised that the absence of a corporate income tax or a nominal corporate tax structure in the Bahamas is a matter of concern. Further, the lack of substance of some legal arrangements was highlighted. These matters have been the source of discussions and are being reviewed to ensure that a plan of action is formulated to allow the Bahamas to remain off the OECD blacklist that was recently published. We have solicited the assistance of financial sector professionals to assist in the effort to address all the issues noted. Mr. Speaker, as I have stated, there yet remains much to be done. There is no time for us to rest on our laurels. We must get back to work hand in hand with the financial sector and civil society as we seek to chart a course towards a course which we hope will enable our financial sector not simply to survive, but also succeed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No questions.
Order that communication be brought up.
Excellent, Mr. Prime Minister. Talking about I took these out.
Order that the communication do lie on the table. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador.
The Prime Minister did allude to my remonstration.
Honorable member.
Yes.
Are you seeking to?
Mr. Speaker, I seek a leave to respond to the communication.
Honorable member,
I'm seeking.
you know,
leave.
we had this situation arose
No, Mr. Speaker.
um,
Mr. Speaker,
with respect to.
I seek leave to respond to the communication for two reasons. One, the Prime
Well,
Minister
hold on,
referred to me.
hold on, honorable member.
Go ahead.
Hold on, honorable member. No, but honorable member. Honorable member. On the occasion when your deputy rise in this house on a similar communication by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, all members were informed that the rules do not provide for a response to a communication or statement by minister, and that where the rules are absent, we will rely on Erskine May parliamentary practice, and you can come by way of notice. But I'm not prepared to permit you to respond until I am satisfied that the information is provided to me for me to make a determination. No, I'm not engaging you.
For leave. I start off by asking for leave. Because
Honorable member,
you wish to give me leave, you give me leave.
leave is denied.
Right.
Further statements and communication by ministers. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Bamboo Town.
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Communications by the clerk. Messages from the Governor General. Messages from the Senate. Motions for leave of absence, leave to resign seat, and new writs. Presentations of petitions. Presentation of report of committees. Adoption of reports of committee. First reading of bills. Second reading and committal of bills. Committee of the whole House. Third reading and passing of bills. Consideration of Senate amendment. Resolutions. Member statements. The chair, two members are on the feet. The chair recognizes the honorable member for South and Central Andros and Mangrove Key.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to, during this Yuletide season, to note quickly in my 2 minutes that in life there is death. Today, on behalf of my wife, family, I'd like to extend condolences to my friend, a hometown boy and a philanthropist to the community of Andros, South Central and Mangrove Key, and by extension the entire island. Late Mr. Ashley Cargill, a businessman, sense of support, and one who loved the community of Andros. We are saddened by his passing, and we want to pray for his wife and his son AJ and the staff at his company Gigatech, and by extension all of the other businesses. Also today, Mr. Speaker, I also must apologize to you, sir, for not being able to attend your annual luncheon because of the funeral for a friend of mine, also the late Miss Henrietta Smith Ferguson of Bahamas Air, who worked at Bahamas Air for any number of years, and out of hails of the island of Exuma, I think the forest to be exact. And so therefore, I must beg leave, sir, to attend that funeral today. Also to the community of South Andros and to Mangrove Key, to my good friend Sadie. I was unable to attend our Father's Day on Saturday and to attend the events in Deep Creek and also at Mount Olive in Smithsville, my birthplace, on Sunday past due to not feeling so well on the weekend. Mr. Speaker, about to wrap things up, I want to say to the people of our country during these very trying times that many of you, as you move around, would have been maybe turned down by credit unions. Clearing banks have not been so welcoming. And many persons are today commiserating over decisions that they would have made. And they want to have the gifts that they would like to have for Christmas and the presents all under the Christmas tree. But I want persons today, amidst all the gloom and doom and even some naysayers, to live with a sense of hope. And even if you can't, maybe didn't get a gift or a lovely Christmas card like you would have sent to me, Mr. Speaker, from your lodge or your burial society, your church, or congregants therein, or your workplace. For us, in Andros in particular, all we want is good roads, docks, medical doctor, having a little something in the port for us, a little school and a little playground. We'll get that, we'll be okay. But as I leave this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, amidst my own personal challenges, I am an optimistic individual. And I leave this afternoon by saying, Mr. Speaker, we must celebrate this season and live with hope and look forward to a brighter and a more prosperous and productive 2018. I live because of the Christ of Christmas. So therefore, I will leave on behalf of the people of the great communities of Central, Mangrove, Key, and South Andros. So I plan to celebrate with my family in church services during this Christmas season, as I always do. And I note, and I'll use simply a biblical pericope as I leave for those who are listening all over the Commonwealth today, as a man of faith. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government should be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Almighty God, the Everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. To all my fellow Bahamians, especially in Central, where I'll be this week on Friday, South, Mangrove Key, and the wider Bahamas today, a Merry Christmas to all, and let's look forward to a bright, productive, and forward-looking 2018. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Mount Moriah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to extend best wishes this holiday season to you, Mr. Speaker, and your family, your constituents, and to all of the members of this honorable House, including our leader, the member for Kalani, and his family. Christmas is an occasion to celebrate with relatives and friends. I pray that wherever you may be, you will be safe and will experience the gift of love, peace, and happiness. My thoughts and well wishes are with those who, for any number of reasons, will be separated from their loved ones during this season. Mr. Speaker, in 2017 has taught me anything at all. I do believe it has taught me about timing. Timing must be right. Long periods of time waiting for something to be materialized may appear to be one's biggest enemy, when in fact the timing of the situation becomes one's greatest ally. For me personally, it was a great honor to be elected by the people of Mount Moriah as their representative in this honorable House. To my consultative team, the executives of the F&M branch of Mount Moriah constituency, to the executives of the community associations of Stapleton, Millennium, and Yellow Elder Gardens, and to the residents of the great constituency of Mount Moriah, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. There are about 3 exciting events left on our calendar for Mount Moriah. They include a town hall meeting tomorrow evening at the Government High School, which commences at 6:30 p.m. Our Main Street Winter Wonderland throughout our constituency, featuring the best youth band in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Mount Moriah Transformers, the greatest compilation of young musicians you can find anywhere in this country. That event will commence at 6 p.m. It will start in the Yellow Ella Gardens area on Graham Drive. It will move into Yellow Elder Center area at about 6:30 and then on to Millennium Gardens, and will culminate at McKinney Avenue in the Stapleton Gardens area opposite the park. And the intent is to display our young men and women who have become a part of this band just 2 months ago, display it to the wider constituency so that every resident will have an opportunity to see what our young people are capable of. And so for those of you who may be looking for something to enjoy, you are welcome, and you will find us on the main streets, these communities, playing a collection of Christmas songs. And we culminate on Saturday with our Christmas party, which is Saturday at the old carnival site at the Sports Center between 3 and 7. So all residents of Mount Moriah from all 3 of the communities are welcome to come out and enjoy. There will be gifts and prizes and foods for the young persons of the area between the ages of 4 and 12. And so I invite them all to come out and have a great time. I also take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to extend best wishes and Merry Christmas to the members of law enforcement, Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Bahamas Department of Corrections, including their civilian staff, who all together make the daily sacrifice to keep us safe and protect the sovereignty of our island nation. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas are also extended to the Parliamentary Registrar and to the staff at the Ministry of National Security, who create a family atmosphere each day and make the job of doing the people's work easier. My fellow parliamentarians, I pray that we all will redeem our time wisely and previously worked in 2018 and beyond to continue to focus and bring about legislation that will positively impact generations of Bahamians who resoundingly help us to usher in the people's time. Mr. Speaker, timing also allows us to recognize that there is no time like the present. During this Yuletide season, which embodies coming together, I encourage us all to make a concerted effort to reach out to our respective communities and embrace those who may be spending the holidays alone. We must be our brother's keeper and exemplify through our actions Christ's life of service. As this year draws to a close, never thought something like this would be controversial, am I? And another year quickly approaches. We must always remember to spread goodwill. Don't delay me further, my cousin. Goodwill and cheer. Mr. Speaker, Jesus Christ's birth signifies hope, and I am hopeful and optimistic about the future, about what the future holds for this nation. While challenges remain, in these few months in office, this government, led by our visionary leader, Dr. the Honorable Hubert Minnis, has steered a clear path for progress and onward mobility, thus giving the Bahamian people a bright outlook for 2018. May God's love surround you and your families. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable members, I think this is an ideal time for me to indicate to honorable members that there is still the opportunity by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas to have each individual member record a Christmas greeting to their constituents and the wider Bahamas archipelago. And in addition, there's also been another option extended to you for a more lengthy presentation on the Parliamentary channel. Now that doesn't take away the ZNS option. It just gives you two opportunities. And the Parliamentary channel, of course, will be a repeated broadcast throughout the Christmas season. And so be mindful as we make communications this morning and statements this morning that you have those other options available to you. Further member statements. The chair recognizes, we have two members on. Ladies first.
Thank you,
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Fox Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for those. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for those two very generous options. Notwithstanding, I'd like to take a brief moment to say Merry Christmas to the people of the great constituency of Fox Hill and to invite them to the official celebration of Christmas in Fox Hill. Mr. Speaker, I am from one of those constituencies where things have not quite settled down. I think most people understand that they have lost or won, and some of us have not. And so I want to say to the children of Fox Hill that on Saturday from 12 to 3, we will be hosting you and look forward to seeing you. And to everyone in Fox Hill, in the evening from 7 to 10, we are having an old-fashioned Christmas in the village. You will remember that Fox Hill has 5 towns, Mr. Speaker. Congo Town, from where I hail, Nango Town, Joshua Town, Burnside Town, and Creek Village. Truly an historic and heritage place. And so we want to celebrate who we are in Fox Hill by having that old-fashioned Christmas. We invite the country to join us. Junkanoo with the old-style way, newspaper and crepe paper, and cowbells made out of tin can with marbles in to shake it up. So truly an old-fashioned Christmas in Fox Hill, and performances by the best. I have to contradict Mount Moriah on that. Has a while to come up, but we welcome you to Fox Hill and hope to see you there. Merry Christmas, Fox Hill. Thank you for being the wonderful place that you are. And I just want one more thing, Mr. Speaker, and then I'm gone. I promise you I'm not as long as Mount Moriah.
You're almost there. You're almost there. Everybody over there.
We were very pleased to see the report from the police that Fox Hill has the third lowest crime rate on New Providence, and we celebrate that. And so also to the media, please print that. You have my permission. I approve this message. So sometimes we have to celebrate the good, even though we report everything else. I would like to see you report that, and I would be quite happy for a Christmas present of the front page with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Central Grand Bahama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I stand here on the grace of the Almighty God and through the support of the good constituents of Central Grand Bahama. And while I'm here, I'd like to apologize on behalf of Marco City, who incidentally is quarterbacking for Elizabeth in Freeport. You know, you like to use these football terms. I'm at the Rand Memorial Hospital in Grand Bahama, so he sends his apologies for not being here. Today, if I was a Baptist preacher, I would say, turn to your neighbor on the right and say it's party time. And I would turn to your neighbor on the left and say it's celebration time. But I'm not, but I said it anyhow. The members of Parliament of Grand Bahama, all 5 of us, combine our resources and our effort to have one grand Christmas party on Saturday, the 16th of December, this coming Saturday, in Freeport, Grand Bahama. We thought it would be fitting to invite the entire island of Grand Bahama out to this event. The event will start downtown at 1 o'clock. Port Authority will be having their event at 1 o'clock. They're going to have a parade of characters. And at 4 o'clock, all of the characters in a Thanksgiving Macy's Day Parade style will parade from downtown Freeport to Independence Park, where we're going to have all of the characters. We're going to have free food, free gifts, popcorn, cotton candies. So we are inviting the entire island of Grand Bahama to come out. And yeah, if New Providence are visiting us, free food, you know, all all the bells and whistles. So we are excited about this. Grand Bahama is excited about it, and we expect this to be the first of many of our combined efforts. So we're showing that we are united in Grand Bahama, and we trust that unity will spread throughout the entire country. So again, on behalf of the members of Parliament of Grand Bahama, I want to wish you all season's greeting, and to all of my fellow parliamentarians, all the best with you and your family, and I look forward to seeing and serving with all of you next year in this honorable house. Thank you very much.
And on this occasion, we'll go with age over youth. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Pine Ridge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much. Let me take this opportunity to say thank you, and also to wish you, Mr. Speaker, and your family a very Merry Christmas, and indeed a blessed New Year. I'd like to also extend that to our leader, the Prime Minister, the Honorable Hubert Minnis, and his lovely wife, Mrs. Minnis, and also to the Leader of Her Majesty's Opposition, and also to all of my parliamentary colleagues and collegial partners in this House. I'd also like to take this opportunity to wish the good and gracious people of the Pine Ridge constituency a very Merry Christmas and a very blessed and prosperous New Year. I'd also, Mr. Speaker, like to say that as we will collectively come together in Grand Bahama and unify ourselves to bring together the community of Grand Bahama, we also want to, during this Yuletime season, keep in our prayers those who are less fortunate. Christmas is a time for giving and sharing, but we should also use this opportunity to remember those who are less fortunate than ourselves and to reach out to those persons the best way we can. Again, I also want to thank the persons who serve on the board at the Hotel Corporation with me. I'd like to take this opportunity to also wish them a very Merry Christmas. And I pray that the peace, honor, and goodwill towards men that was extended some 2,000 plus years ago on that cold night amongst the shepherds and the angels. I pray that that peace and goodwill towards all men will be out of the Bahamas, and that we will continue to seek peace with each other and indeed our community. Once again, colleagues, Merry Christmas and a very blessed and prosperous New Year.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Long Island.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful to the people of Long Island for electing me to this honorable place. And this being my very first Christmas as their member of Parliament, I'm going to have a great showdown this coming Saturday. Mr. Speaker, I wish to wish a Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year to all of my colleagues here in this place, and also to the people of my constituency. Mr. Speaker, while on my feet, I'd like to note that this coming Saturday at 3 p.m. at the cultural site in Salt Pond, all kids and families in Long Island are invited to our first annual Christmas party. We will be providing bus transportation from South Long Island to North Long Island, from South Long Island and North Long Island to the site in Salt Pond. Mr. Speaker, there will be gifts, Christmas stockings, games, food, fellowship, and of course, Santa Claus. So I'm inviting all members of Parliament and all Bahamians to come down to the most exciting Christmas party this weekend. Mr. Speaker, I'm also hopeful that this coming New Year in 2018 would bring us gifts of a new airport and a few other infrastructural needs in Long Island. Mr. Speaker, I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish the members of this honorable place a Merry Christmas. And to the people of my wonderful constituency, a Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, honorable member. The chair recognizes the honorable member for St. Barnabas.
Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As always the case, Mr. Speaker, let me give thanks to Almighty God, who is the great architect of the universe, for giving me the breath and the opportunity to stand here in this festive season. First, Mr. Speaker, as the chairman of the Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority, I would like to extend warm season's greetings to all of the staff of the authority who have been doing a tremendous job getting the island up to scratch and keeping the place clean, the roads, the villages, and the parks. There's still much work to do, but they've been working tirelessly to meet the mandate of the authority, so I wish all of them and their families a safe Christmas and a Happy New Year. Also, Mr. Speaker, without a doubt, I send my greetings to the great people of the constituency of St. Barnabas, namely the Grove, Black Village, Big Pond, Rock Crusher, and the Oaksfield area. I wish that God continues to cover their families during this festive season. And I do pray that 2018, along with the efforts of our team in St. Barnabas and their individual efforts, will bring prosperity to their lives. I also like to wish season's greetings to all of the parliamentarians and Bahamians everywhere, and indeed the staff of the House of Assembly. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, you know, politicians are known for trying to be everything to everyone. So let me say this, Mr. Speaker. I'll preface my remark by saying this. There's not much daylight between myself and the member for Kalani, except for one thing, Mr. Speaker. He rushes for the Saxons, and I rush for the world-famous Valley Boys. That is the only daylight between myself and the member for Kalani. You have to have some difference somewhere, right? And I just wish to let the people of St. Barnabas know that during the New Year's parade, I will be in a costume, a bee, and I'm attempting to call that costume the St. Barnabas bee. So I want them to look out for that costume, okay? And I do again wish that they have a wonderful Christmas, and to also note that on Monday, December 18th, we will be having the first St. Barnabas ecumenical service. And so we ask everybody to attend. It's at First Baptist Church. If everybody can hold, we would love to have you. Pastor Reverend Diana Francis will be the host pastor, as well as on December 23rd on Big Pond Park, we will be having our Christmas extravaganza. And so we welcome everybody from St. Barnabas, and we don't turn away any other persons who may decide to show up. We'll be feeding the elderly and giving gifts to the children in the constituency of St. Barnabas. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you. Well, I have to go with my deputy. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Tall Pines.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me first take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to wish the people of Tall Pines a happy, joyous Christmas and a happy, joyous New Year. Mr. Speaker, I've had the great opportunity to represent the wonderful people of Tall Pines for the last several months, and I pray God that our partnership as a team will continue far beyond 2018. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to wish my colleagues here in this honorable House and in the Senate a wonderful Christmas. We also must, Mr. Speaker, wish our colleagues here in this honorable House, the staff, the clerk, and his team, a wonderful New Year, and we thank them for the contribution they give to this country, as we do on our feet here on a weekly basis, because we know that without them and their help, that we would not be able to do what we do here. So we want to, through you, Mr. Speaker, wish them and their families a happy Christmas and a wonderful New Year. I simply want to, again, Mr. Speaker, say to the people of Tall Pines, as we move into 2018, I want them, as I've myself, recommit themselves to community building, recommit themselves to national development, and they could simply do that, Mr. Speaker, by joining one of our constituency committees, whether it's the Outreach Committee, whether it's the Education Committee, whether it's the Cleanup and Outreach Committee. We want to say to them, recommit themselves to the work in Tall Pines, and we want to say, if we work together, we will continue to do the great work that we're doing. So, Mr. Speaker, I would end by simply saying, thank you to Tall Pines for this opportunity. I look forward to working with you in 2018, and please, pray for all of us, not only in Tall Pines, but throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We're going to try and bring some balance on the right and the left. We've been hearing a lot from the left so far, so we're going to go next to, and we'll come back to you, honorable member. The chair recognizes this honorable member for Central and South Abaco.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at this time, I'd like to express my gratitude and take the opportunity to wish my constituents, the wonderful people of Central and South Abaco, a very Merry Christmas, and I can assure them that we will all work together towards a very prosperous, very successful New Year. Mr. Speaker, in Abaco earlier this month, we recently had our annual Christmas Bazaar, where both myself and my colleague, the Honorable Member for North Abaco, were present and gave remarks, and I'm pleased to say that the event went exceedingly well. Very positive experience for all of our communities on our beautiful island. And I'd like to assure my constituents, spread out through our quite large constituency, as we move towards closer to Christmas and we all have our unique celebrations and tree lightings in our own towns, I will do my very utmost to be at as many as possible, so that way we can share together in Christmas joy as we round off our new year. I would also like to extend the warm feelings of the seasons to all of you, my colleagues, and to you, Mr. Speaker. and from my family and to yours, to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. I think everyone within the halls of Parliament today and outside of them very eagerly anticipate the opportunity to relax and spend time with their families and to contemplate the year that has passed and the new one that awaits them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Exuma and Ragged Island.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to offer Christmas greetings and Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Speaker, and all of my colleagues here today on behalf of the great people of Exuma and Ragged Island. Before I talk more about our Christmas extravaganza, Mr. Speaker, I firstly want to mention that over the past week, myself, along with the member for Golden Gates, had the opportunity to travel to the Commonwealth Association of Public Accounts Committee in London. We come back with some great recommendations for the chair of the committee and for you, Mr. Speaker, to see how we can make our Public Accounts Committee more effective in terms of holding the government's feet to the fire, Mr. Speaker. But this is Christmas time. So we're going to present those recommendations early in the new year. I also wish to congratulate the member for Golden Gates on having been elected as a member of the Executive Council for the CAPAC. Mr. Speaker, on Saturday, the 16th, this Saturday, we're having a Christmas extravaganza on the Regatta Park in Georgetown, Exuma. And we invite every resident of Exuma, from Barratari, where there will be a bus leaving at 11 a.m., and from Williamstown, where there will also be a bus leaving at 11 a.m., to join us at noon at Regatta Park, where we will have a grand celebration. We also invite the people of Long Island to join this the celebration as well. It's going to be a grand time. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I say to the people of the Bahamas that I wish them a Merry Christmas on behalf of my family, on behalf of the people of Exuma and Ragged Island, on behalf of the leader of the opposition. We trust that the season bring everything that the heart of the Bahamian people desire, and we hope that 2018 is a year filled with empowerment for the Bahamian people. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for North Abaco.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on this occasion, when we mark the birth of Christ, as indicated by the member from South Central Andros, in the midst of life, there is death. And I want to extend my deep and sincere condolences to the family of Bonnie Knowles, who passed recently, a member of my constituency from Grand Turtle Key. I'd like to, when I walked into the house, I'll be brief. When I walked into the house the first time, nobody knew me from Adam, and she said, Darren, my father is the support of your party. I'm not doing this for you. Her father had just recently passed. He said, I'm doing this for my father. And from that moment to now, they have taken me into their bosoms and embraced me. And this is a family that I have grown to love dearly. And so to her husband, John, and her brother, John Sawyer, and to her mother, Mother Laura, I extend my heartfelt condolences. The Bible says, Mr. Speaker, that it asks the question, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? I pose the question. I think there's a nexus to this Christmas season. And I pose the question, can any good thing come out of being town? I think it's only appropriate that we congratulate the Member of Parliament for Kalani, the leader of our government and our country, for the achievement of being invited, this country being invited to sit on the council, the Economic Council of the OECD, which forms a part of the decision-making process of that body. I think that's a wonderful Christmas gift from the Prime Minister and those cabinet colleagues who are now in San Marino to sign that document, which speaks volume for their work, their effort, and in getting this country back on the right course. I would also, Mr. Speaker, now take this opportunity to extend best wishes to my constituents in North Abaco. I see us coming together, coalescing, and now beginning to formulate some semblance of a good family spirit in our community as we move into this Christmas season. Christmas is a time for blessings. It's a time for joy. It's a time for high spirits. And it's a time when we remember the sacrifices of Christ, who, knowing the frailties of man, the Bible declares that before the Lamb was slain, before man was created, the Lamb was slain. Before the foundations of the world, help me remember it, preacher. Before the foundations of the world were laid, the Lamb was slain. That means, Mr. Speaker, as I'm about to take my seat, that God knew that he would have to embrace the frailties of human flesh before he created mankind, and still went ahead and created man, knowing he would die, so that we could have life once more. And this is a time, I think, for us to recall the sacrifice of God through his Son, Jesus Christ, who clothed himself in human flesh and came to this place that we may have life, and have life more abundantly. This is a season when, regardless to what you have, regardless to where you sit, you must look to the Christ of Christmas and remember the love and the sacrifice and the gift that he has given mankind to enjoy this season and to enjoy this life. And so with those few short words, I also would like to say that we're going to celebrate what my constituents and the organizers are calling a mega family fun day at the primary school ground in Treasure Key on the 23rd, where we're going to have Christmas games and carols and plays and a basketball tournament and all manner of games for the children. And so we invite all to come out and enjoy. And my brother James indicated that we attended the Christmas Lighting Festival in Abaco just recently, and it was a good occasion where we had lots of people from all across Abaco. And we want to keep that spirit as we move into the season. And so God bless you all. I pray for you and your families the best in the season, and may God keep us and guide us as we go through these times and bring us back once more so we can enjoy the fellowship of each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Seabreeze.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the people of Seabreeze to bring Yuletide greetings during this time when we remember Christ, whom my mother always say, in us is the hope of glory. Mr. Speaker, to my fellow parliamentarians, I want to say Merry Christmas to all, to the residents and constituents of Seabreeze Association executives and members, our community volunteers. Mr. Speaker, I want to extend this Christmas greeting. Also, Mr. Speaker, to the Ministry of Social Services, its staff, the Department of Social Services, and the fine team of Urban Renewal, and specifically also, Mr. Speaker, to the senior citizens' homes and children's homes that fall under my care. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I am one of those fully persuaded that Jesus is the reason for the season. I am remembering the scripture in Romans that said, what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, he condemned it in the flesh. And so I am grateful to him for coming. Mr. Speaker, he is love, and this is what we want people to remember, the truth about the matter. It is he that is peace, and he is our promise for a better future. Mr. Speaker, the reality is for many, I was in that number the last 5 years prior to now, we sort of came up the rough side of the mountain. That is what I said. But where we are now, Mr. Speaker, we have done our best, and the reality is, as the song concluded, we made it in. Yes. And so the people of the Bahamas are now dancing, and they are in joy. I want to say, in concluding, Mr. Speaker, and I want to remind all of Philippians 4:8, which says, finally, my brethren, whatsoever things are true, and whatsoever things are honest, lovely, of good report, let us think on these things. And you know, many times in the Christmas, we think on what things we want. We think on the gifts that we want, and then we also think of the year to come and what will be our resolutions. Well, Mr. Speaker, I want to declare here, as I think on these good things, and I'm looking forward to next year, and some say that I'm always very optimistic, and sometimes they may even call me unrealistic, but I look forward to more jobs in the year to come. I look forward to less crime, Mr. Speaker, and I look forward to social development and the economic prosperity and growth of our country. These are the things that I'm going to be focused on thinking about, Mr. Speaker. These are the good things. On behalf of the people of Seabreeze, to you and your family, Mr. Speaker, and to every member of this House, I want to wish you a blessed Christmas and a peaceful New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Angleston.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity, and I want to extend to the good people of Angleston my best wishes for this holiday season and my hope for a new year that is bright and that brings peace to their hearts, the hearts of each community resident and to the community at large, and prosperity to the individual lives of every person in the Angleston community and in respect of their endeavors, and in fact, Mr. Speaker, to our nation at large. I'll be shortly announcing, Mr. Speaker, a date for the tree lighting ceremony in Angleston, and I also will be collaborating with the Montel Heights Community Association for their upcoming Christmas party, and that they will announce that when the time is right. I had shared with my learned friend from Seabreeze that I heard through the grapevine that the Urban Renewal is having a function on the Angleston Park, and I think this is the first time ever that I was not aware of it, but I trust that this is not another one of those oversights, Mr. Speaker. Again. Speaker, and so I want to urge the Urban Renewal to, because I think historically there's always been that collaboration between the work of the Urban Renewal Initiative and the Member of Parliament. I think that's across the board for both sides, regardless of political affiliation. So I'm trusting that this will be a one-time oversight, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I take this opportunity. Speaker, Speaker, I had a laughter, but you know, I made that for a reason. Speaker, I take this opportunity to pledge to the people of Angleston my continuing love, respect, and loyalty to them, my commitment to them, and to my country at large, Mr. Speaker, and I pray that God will keep our people, the Bahamian people, and our nation safe in the weeks and months and years ahead of us. And I want to take this opportunity to wish to colleagues in this Parliament especially with those who their first Christmas in the Parliament. To the many of you who fall in that category, I wish you a very happy and fulfilling holiday season in your own lives and the lives of your respective communities. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Southern Shores.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, standing on the shoulders of the good people of Southern Shores, I wish to join in with be a part of the chorus of voices that are extending Christmas greetings. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful to the good people of Southern Shores for this opportunity. From Rocky Pine Road in the north all the way to Marshall Road in the south, I want them to know that from my house, on behalf of myself and my wife, Catherine, I want to wish them all collectively and personally a very Merry Christmas, and we look forward to our continued work together that will result in a prosperous and productive New Year. Mr. Speaker, as a result of the privilege extended me by the good people of Southern Shores on election, I'm also the Minister for Transport and Local Government. A fine group of people from Grand Bahama in the north all the way to Inagua in the south. Local government administrators, road traffic representatives, the whole gamut that makes up the ministry. I want to extend a Merry Christmas to them also and to thank them for their support thus far. Mr. Speaker, Christmas gives us an opportunity to reflect on the year that would have passed. And us in the Bahamas, we would have had our ups and downs, we would have had our happy moments, and we would have had our sad moments. But in recent time, there is a situation that is concerning. 2 weekends ago, we lost 6 individuals to road traffic accidents. And Mr. Speaker, sometimes we get caught up in the festivities of the season. We forget the reason for the season, and maybe we party a little too hard. So as we celebrate, Mr. Speaker, I want to admonish Bahamians everywhere that road safety is everybody's business all the time. Yes, have an eggnog. Yes. I'm gonna have one. Yes. And I'll sing a sing. Yes, go to a party. You've been invited to many parties right here today. But ensure that at the end of it, you are able to arrive home safely. So you will take the necessary precautions. We hear a lot about the fatalities, Mr. Speaker, but there is worse that we don't hear about often enough. Those accidents that do not result in fatality, but lifelong disability. And so, Mr. Speaker, I hate to end this on such a somber note, but unless we are cognizant of that possibility, we're going to cause some family or a number of families not to have a Merry Christmas or not to have a productive and prosperous New Year. So as I close and take my seat, I admonish and challenge us all here to take as our mantra, ending this year and going into the new year, peace on earth and goodwill to all men. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Just before the Honorable Member for Fort Charlotte, in my possession is, cameraman, you can get a close-up on this. This is an album by the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band. The best band with international reputation for being the best police force band on planet Earth. This is an album keeping the music alive. It's a Christmas album. I don't know if this one was a gift to me, but I'm prepared to pay. And I would admonish all members to get a copy in support of the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band, as well as citizens throughout the archipelago to support the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band by getting a copy. I looked at the songs on this and I see 2 songs that I don't believe I heard before that I really want to listen to. Christmas Crow, I've never heard that one before. And they have it on here twice. So, and then there's the one called Blue Christmas. I've heard about White Christmas. But so it'd be interesting to see what Blue Christmas is all about. So I would encourage you all to get a copy of the Royal Bahamas Police Force Christmas album. The chair now recognizes the Honorable Member for Fort Charlotte.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to begin by paraphrasing
Calvin Coolidge, who says, Christmas is not only a time and a season, but it is also a spirited state of mind that cherishes peace and goodwill and the plenteous joys and mercy that God has given us. In that vein, I would like to extend well wishes of the season to you, sir, to our Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, and his wife, Patricia Minnis, to my parliamentary colleagues, to my Fort Charlotte Association executive team members, to the staff of the Fort Charlotte Urban Renewal Center, and as chairman of Bahamas Agriculture, Health and Food Safety Authority, I'd like to also extend the same well wishes to the staff of the authority and to all those in the Department of Agriculture that have made me feel so welcome in the short time that I've been there. I would also like to thank the good people of Fort Charlotte for the distinct privilege to serve them for the past and for their goodwill and towards me during the short few months that I have been in office representing them. Now I can say, like the old gospel psalmist says, I've had some good days and I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days and some sleepless nights. But when I look around and think things over, all of my good days far outweigh my bad days. And I won't complain because I know the best is still yet to come. I'd like to thank all my residents and wish them a very Merry Christmas and ask that they share with each other all the peace and goodwill and plenteous mercy that this season has to offer. As we move towards the year's end, I'd want them to brighten each other's lives, bear each other's burdens, carry each other's loads, and fill each other's hearts and lives with love, not just for the Christmas season, but into the new year until God brings us back to this 2018 season again. I'd like to say with all my love, I wish Fort Charlotte and all of the Bahamas, again, a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. I ask that we all be safe during this season and be blessed. Again, thank you, and Fort Charlotte, love you. We've had some good times. I see brighter days ahead, and I'm excited about what 2018 will bring. So, Merry Christmas, prosperous New Year. I see one of my executive members, Pamela Miller, here with me. Pam, I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Pam knows that's my love. That's my wife. Pam, I could say that on the Parliamentary channel, eh? And I also see my Aunt Jane Samuda, who flew in. I don't know, I thought she was out of the country, but I guess she came back to celebrate Christmas with me. So, Aunt Jane, I'd also like to wish you a Merry Christmas personally, outside of what I wished for Fort Charlotte. This one is special. She got it all on. That's a special Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to my Aunt Jane Samuda. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the honorable member for North Andros and the Berry Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would first like to give my condolences to the Russell, Knowles, and Smith family on the passing of their loved one. May their soul rest in peace. Mr. Speaker, I also rise this afternoon on behalf of the great people of North Andros and the Berry Islands. And I would like to also thank the member for Angliston for acknowledging my first term in this house on my first Christmas. That brings me to thank the great people of North Andros and the Berry Islands again for giving me my Christmas present very early on May the 10th. So I would like to say it is good to be here, and also to let the people of North Andros know that in a short period of time, after a lot of cry, the road in North Andros is on the way of being completed. You know, we have a lot to be thankful for, but after years of riding on that road, we have a new pipeline that is now being laid in Mastic Point, and it's going to be moving on into Nicholstown and Kongstown very shortly. And we can say thanks to our wonderful Minister of Works for the quick response in giving us a more joyful Christmas. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to, at this same time, would like to wish my family, the Bullegg family, a very Merry Christmas. Also, again, the people of the Berry Islands, in whom I'm happy to be their representative, where we kicked off our Christmas tree lighting last week, Friday night, that I must commend the R.M. Gomez School for the wonderful work that they did in performing before us that night. And also, sir, we have a lot going on also in North Andros. The island that was sleeping for so many years, we've already started celebrating. And tomorrow night, also Friday night, we're gonna be having our Christmas tree lighting along with our giving out of toys throughout Friday. But I can assure you, come next year, we won't be the sleeping giant anymore, because we've already seen the difference already. So that giant is already awakened. She wake. Oh, my Andros. But I want to thank you also, Mr. Speaker, and our Prime Minister, whom I know will make sure that Andros is going to be okay. Because he always talk about being town, but Andros is where the heart of that man is from. And I look forward to seeing our office open over there in Fresh Creek that will also represent North Andros and the Berry Islands. So, as much as we can say, this is our bipartisan part of it, where you have me as the Member of Parliament for North Andros and the Berry Islands, and the Honorable Member for South and Central Andros and South Andros, and we're going to put the office there so that we can have a more better communication in Andros. I would also like to thank the staff of the Agriculture and Marine Resources and wish them a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we look forward to great things in the year to come. And to my minister, Mr. Renwood Wells, Member for Bamboo Town, for the great job that he is doing so far in that ministry and moving it in the direction. Also my staff at BAMSI, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, and looking forward to great things moving in North Andros. Again, thank you. God bless you.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Baintown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is indeed my honor and privilege to rise in this honorable House of Assembly this afternoon. Mr. Speaker, I would like to extend Merry Christmas to the great people of Baines and Grandstown who has elected me to serve them and represent them in this honorable House of Assembly, Mr. Speaker. And to them, I am most grateful for this opportunity. To the wonderful staff at the Ministry of Tourism and Aviation, who keeps this country's economy going, the hard-working staff over there, I would like to extend on behalf of my minister, the Honorable Dionisio Diagolo, in his absence, and myself, a very Merry Christmas to them and a Happy New Year. Mr. Speaker, I thank the members of the Free National Movement who are spread out across the length and breadth of this Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank them for their support of me as a young person and for the wisdom and knowledge and guidance that they have given me along the way, and wish them a Merry Christmas, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have seen that 2017 has brought tremendous ups and downs, and we have hit equilibrium, Mr. Speaker. And we are all mindful of May 10th, when the Bahamian people, Mr. Speaker, expelled the pirates and restored commerce. Mr. Speaker, we are mindful also, Mr. Speaker, of Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are mindful of the new year 2018, Mr. Speaker, where the Bahamian people will go into the new year with great hopes of what this government will do, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to admonish or ask for the public, Mr. Speaker, as we go throughout this Christmas season, to be mindful of the most vulnerable among us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm talking about the homeless man or woman on the street, Mr. Speaker. I'm talking about the senior citizens, Mr. Speaker. And we ought to remember that Christmas is the time of giving, not merely about what we can get. And we know, Mr. Speaker, to those Bahamians out there who may not have had the best of year thus far, and I say to them that weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come, Mr. Speaker, in the morning. And so the people of Bain and Grantstown and the public at large, Mr. Speaker, as we go through this Christmas season and into the new year, I am mindful and I am always happy to see, Mr. Speaker, that they are still fired up and ready to go. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you and I wish you a Merry Christmas. To my parliamentary colleagues, I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and I look forward to the awesome productivity and work that we will do in 2018. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the honorable member for South Beach.
Mr. Speaker, I give thanks to the executing agent of my life, which happens to be the Holy Spirit, and other religious denominations known as the Divine Shakti. I am grateful to you, sir, for your kind expressions of well wishes to us and to me for the best of this holiday season. I'm also very grateful to the wonderful people of South Beach, Mr. Speaker, for the repository of their confidence in me. It's expressed on May 10th this year, and the wonderful relationship that we have forged over these past several months in working to make South Beach the finest community here on New Providence. I may wish, Mr. Speaker, to just report that we have embarked upon a massive and aggressive cleanup campaign in South Beach, and I am happy to report that debris, in the words of some residents, that had not been collected in over 20 years, found its way into the refuse refill on our island. It is through their very wonderful collaborative effort across denominational or partisan or parochial lines that we are able to accomplish these objectives. And we are going to celebrate with them this coming season, this coming Saturday night, We are going to have a time for what we call our staff and workers and volunteers. And on Tuesday, the young people will come together at the police station in East Street to let us give thanks to God for a wonderful and joyous season. Mr. Speaker, I'm also responsible through the grace of my leader, the Honorable Member of Kalani, the Prime Minister, to be the Minister of Education, where I have the privilege of serving our community with 6,000 plus educational professionals spread across this country. It is a mammoth task, Mr. Speaker, and it is one that carries with it a phenomenally challenging but opportunistic responsibility to assist in the transformation of our Bahamian society through education, the primary focus of which will be preschool education or early childhood education. And through the opportunity given by this government for me to visit Barbados recently, along with my team leader, Senator the Honorable Dion Fowkes, the Minister of Labor, I used the opportunity at the 20th Conference of the Ministers of Labor of the Organization of American States to visit the preschool enterprise established and operated by the government of Barbados in Barbados, and to visit with the Minister of Education, the Honorable Ronald Jones. It is an impressive achievement over the past 20 plus years that Barbados has acquired, Mr. Speaker, where today their preschool education is fully matured. And it is, I believe, a wonderful opportunity for us to learn as to how they overcame some of the challenges in meeting that more than noble objective. But the primary reason for my visit, sir, along with Senator Fowkes, was to understand how ministries of labor and education throughout the region would be able to work together so that we could address and arrest the challenge posed by youth employability, underemployability, or unemployability. And I believe, sir, that we will take and have taken from that conference, wonderfully presented by the OAS, opportunities and strategies here in the Bahamas that we could use and employ so that we can meet that very important challenge. We're already on the way through the apprenticeship programs and through the establishment in our school, in our curriculum in particular, where the opportunities for technical and vocational education, and also for job readiness training, which now is a principal feature of our graduation requirements, Mr. Speaker, will enable our young people to make a ready entry into the job market. So, sir, to my wonderful people at the Ministry of Education, our excellent team, to the people of South Beach, to members of this great country called the Commonwealth. You know, while I was in Barbados, Mr. Speaker, so many people spoke highly about this country, highlighting a very special feature. It is called Joncanoe. And they asked me if I would assist in getting a Joncanoe group to come down to Barbados for their crop over festival in July of 2018. July, I think their festival is the latter week of July and over into August. Now imagine that, Mr. Speaker. Imagine a country in our Caribbean, our neighbors, who want to augment their festival by the intrusion, the invitation, and the participation of ours. In fact, the Director of Labor, Mr. Colby, I think his name was, told me that he was so mesmerized by his visit to New Providence and seeing Joncanoe that he was spellbound and wanted over these years to find a way to bring Joncanoe down to Trinidad. So I said to him, sir, we will do what we can. It will not be any one singular group, Saxons, Congos, whoever. It will be the group from the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So to you, my honorable members, whose grief I may have visited upon you by hoping and expecting that I would name your group. Please excuse me and forgive me, but I shall not change that ambition. Only to say so to my beloved honorable members and colleagues, the best to you from our family and to yours, and to all, in all things then, to God be the glory.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Central and South Eleuthera.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning on behalf of the good people of Central and South Eleuthera. Mr. Speaker, this being my first time in Parliament, would like to extend to the residents of my constituency a Merry, Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2018. Mr. Speaker, the journey to the road to Parliament has not been easy. And Central and South Eleuthera has been neglected for quite some time now. And because of the good people, just 20 minutes ago, I got a phone call from the technicians at Roxanne International Airport, who informed me that for the first time, Roxanne International Airport now have 20 tons of air conditioning up and functioning. Mr. Speaker, that has been a project that we took on to make sure that we bring about growth, development, and change to the people of Eleuthera. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the good people of South and Central who have allowed me to stand here to represent them. From Benjamin Town in the south to Hatchet Bay in the north, which is 13 communities. Mr. Speaker, while I'm on my feet, I want to extend to the two administrators, Mr. Gregory Knowles in the south and Mr. Gilbert Kemp in the central Eleuthera area, a special thank you. In my absence, Mr. Speaker, during this festive season, they have been able to fill the shoes, and they've done an excellent job, and for that our people are grateful. Mr. Speaker, I dare not forget our local practitioners who has played such a wonderful role in making sure that the festive season in Central Eleuthera is spread throughout the constituency. Our local leaders are on the move. And to them, I say thank you, and I wish all of you a Merry, Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2018.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Garden Hills.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to say Merry Christmas to all of the wonderful members of Garden Hills. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the Garden Hills constituency represents the gateway to the South. And I always tell my colleagues, if you don't use East Street, Blue Hill Road, or Samalo Butler Highway, you will never get to the South. And to get there, you must pass through Garden Hills. And so, Mr. Speaker, I stand today on their behalf to say thank you, and also to expect and extend condolences to Mr. Ashley Cargill, who was once a member of the Road Traffic Authority Board when I served in road traffic. And, Mr. Speaker, to remind the members of the Garden Hills constituency that this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. begins our kids party in Garden Hills Park number 2, but to also remind the seniors, which is a project that I've always maintained in Garden Hills, that their island tour begins at 10 a.m. from the Garden Hills headquarters. And Mr. Speaker, this tour of the island is very important to me and to the seniors who participate in it, because, you know, many of the seniors who come on that tour have not been to key places on New Providence. And we take the opportunity, Mr. Speaker,
to take them to some places that they've never been. And I always remember taking one senior through the airport when it was built. And she couldn't imagine that we had progressed that much. The last time she was at the airport, Mr. Speaker, she told me when it was in Oatsfield. And so, Mr. Speaker, I am honored to be a part of a constituency that honors the seniors in our community. And so, Mr. Speaker, on Sunday, because we have a seniors home in our constituency, instead of attending church on a regular basis that day, we are expected to spend a day with the seniors who are in our seniors home in the constituency. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, we are going through a massive cleanup in our constituency. We are cleaning up and targeting all of the overgrown lots in our constituency. And we've started the program now for 2 weeks. And I remind members in Garden Hills to call my office if we have missed you, to make sure we know exactly where the overgrown property is. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we are starting on Monday to remove all of the derelict vehicles in the area. And I remind my constituents that we need written permission to move those vehicles. And so if you have a vehicle that is yours, that you can give us permission to move, just contact my office. We've been doing a walkabout in the area to identify some of the vehicles, but we may have missed some. So contact my office, and we will get to you next week. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I would like to also say to the thousands of employees of the government who are represented by the Ministry of Public Service, I want to commend you for your hard work and to say to you, as we seek to transform the whole public service sector, I want to congratulate you in advance for assisting me and the government in doing that. And Mr. Speaker, on behalf, and directly to the employees of the National Insurance Board, I want to commend you for beginning the steps to improve service delivery to the hundreds of customers that you see on a daily basis. And I urge you to work with us as we deliver and try to deliver quality service to the Bahamian public. To the rest of the Bahamas, I say to you, Merry Christmas, and I wish you a Happy New Year.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the honorable member for West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. I rise on behalf of the beautiful people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini to extend a Merry Christmas to this entire House, both you and your family, that of Prime Minister Minnis and his family, all of my colleagues, and by extension, members of the gallery and your families. A very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. As we reflect on the birth of Jesus Christ, Mr. Speaker, I am mindful of new beginnings. Having started here in this House of Assembly when we would have been elected on May 10th, I am indeed privileged to be a part of this honorable House, and I thank each and every one of my colleagues who continue to inspire me daily and from whom I'm learning a lot. I wish to thank the people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini for their expression of confidence and trust in me and having me as their representative. I continue to work daily on your behalf, and I wish each and every one of you a wonderful Christmas, knowing that in spite of our challenges, we will continue to rise. Mr. Speaker, I wish to echo my voice to the entire country and to be reminded that above all things, love is the greatest gift that we can give at any time of the year. Mr. Speaker, I am happy to know that while Christmas is approaching, many of us are softening to some degree, and I wish that we continue along this path of loving our neighbors and giving of ourselves on a daily basis. Service, Mr. Speaker, is not easy. It is a sacrifice. And I thank all that would have come forward to offer themselves to service our country and to service all of our people throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I wish to express to the residents of West Grand Bahama and Bimini that we will be doing quite a number of events in our community throughout the coming weeks. We have partnered with all of our members in Grand Bahama, as the MP would have stated earlier, for Central in a big extravaganza of Winter Wonderland, and we welcome each and every parent to accompany their children, not just send them, but to come out and have a good time. You're deserving of it. We're approaching the end of the year and going into an entire new year. I ask that we carry over with us during this season and beyond love, camaraderie, neighborly assistance, and I believe Mr. Speaker, that God will grant us all of our heart's desire. I am thankful again to be a part of this wonderful house. I thank all of those who would be within my portfolio, from that of ZNS to BIS and the Film Board. Thank you for your hard work. I wish you and your families a wonderful new year, and ask that you always remember that the best gift that we can give is God's love, and we will be united and move forward. God bless you all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. And just before we proceed, I just want to inform honorable members that this is a mobile day for us, and that the buses will be available at 1:15 to move us to another place where we expect that you will get some measure of pleasure and appreciation and satisfaction before the buses return us to this honorable place. We have advised the bus drivers that upon return, the load could increase and that they should be prepared for a much heavier return. The chair now recognizes the honorable member for Golden Gates.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon to you, sir. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the good people of Golden Gates for affording me this great honor and privilege to represent them in this honorable House of Assembly, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in a bit of a bittersweet moment. And I say that because on the last occasion when I spoke in this honorable House, I had indicated that our former Vice Chairman, I now say former, of the Golden Gates constituency, Mr. Anton Pinder, I'd asked for prayers for him at the time, but since then and now, he's no longer with us. So it is a bittersweet moment for me today, and for those of us in Golden Gates. As we plan our many festivities for the holidays, as many of my colleagues have mentioned today, including the great one in Grand Bahama, Anton Pinder will be funeralized this coming Friday. And so my heartfelt condolences to him, his family, and to all of our persons who have worked with us and worked with Anton over the years, and indeed all of Anton's neighbors. I visited the home on many occasions, and it was a hard loss for the neighborhood, for the family, and so I offer my heartfelt condolences to Anton's family, his mother, his sister, brothers, his dad, and may his soul rest in peace and perpetual light shine upon him. Mr. Speaker, we also lost Ashley Cargill, who was a candidate for the Free National Movement, and I offer my deepest and sincerest condolences to him. You know, Mr. Speaker, it seems as though the losses have come fast and furious. of late, because we also lost Sir Arlington Butler, who was also a candidate for the Free National Movement. We also lost Calvin Johnson, who was also a candidate for the Free National Movement. All of these in just the last, it seems, 6 or 4 weeks. And my heartfelt condolences go to all of their families, and particularly this time of the year, as they will all experience their first Christmas without these persons and their families. So my heartfelt condolences go out to them. You know, if I may, Mr. Speaker, Sir Arlington Butler and Calvin Johnson were a part of a very special group, a very special group. They were part of a very special group, Mr. Speaker, because they served in this House as a Free National member. And they joined that special group, Mr. Speaker, who also stood and served in this House as a Free National Movement member. And Mr. Speaker, I speak of no other than the Dissident 8. They served in that group as a member who served in this House as Free National members, as they too have done the Dissident 8. And also, Mr. Speaker, they serve also as a special group because they were part of 1992. They were part of that special group that brought in the new government in 1992, and I'm not being controversial. And so they also serve as part of that special group, and I wanted to mark that as part of the recognition of their passing. This is the first opportunity I've had to speak since either and both of the two fine members of this chamber passed away. Mr. Speaker, we in Golden Gates are planning, just like many of my colleagues are, events and festivities for the holidays. We have couched between the funeral for Anton. We have a tree lighting ceremony tomorrow night at the constituency office, and we have a Christmas party for the children of the constituency, on Saturday at Sybil Strawn Primary School. Most of us know it as Carmichael Primary. And we expect that to be a real fun time for the children. And as many others, we have the bouncing castle and the clowns and all the wonderful food and drink and good music for the children. It should really be a swell time for them and a wonderful occasion. Mr. Speaker, Christmas is about family. It is about family, and it's a special time for us here in the Bahamas, as it is in many areas around the world. And you know, Mr. Speaker, when we have our family gatherings at Christmas, like most families do, I am reminded about what my Aunt Gwenny always, member for Seabreeze, she's not in the chamber now, but she said it earlier, and I think Southern Shores, oh yeah, she's right here, yes, looking for you where you normally sit, thank you. And I think my good friend and member for Southern Shores said it too, and my Aunt Gwenny always reminds us that we must remember the reason for the season. And it's so true that we celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and everything that flows from his coming and his ministry while here on earth. And so a central part of that is obviously the family, as we well know. And so while we face a lot of challenges in this country, Mr. Speaker, while people face their daily challenges, we know that family is very important, and it is the family that undergirds us. And this is an opportunity for all of us to reconnect with our families and find time, because we're so busy in the regular run of the day, of the week, of the month. We often don't find the time to spend with family as we would like, or we perhaps should. And so Christmas gives us that opportunity. And I look forward to the time, and I wish all of you wonderful time with your families. I wish all the constituents of Golden Gates a wonderful time with their families. And Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank the people at the Education Loan Authority, the staff there, And I want to thank the wonderful board members who've done a wonderful job. They've done a great job, and I want to thank them. We've had a multitude of meetings since we began, and I think we may have had a little more than they would have liked, but we were getting the job done, and I want to thank them. I'm very appreciative for their efforts, and they've done a wonderful job. And Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you and your staff for the wonderful work they've been doing here. I want to thank Mr. Forbes and Mr. Lightburn and all the other staff members. I want to thank our chaplain, who always does a wonderful job. They've done a wonderful job in making our stay here very pleasant since we've been here, and very welcoming. And as a new member to this house, I'm very, very grateful. With that, Mr. Speaker, I want to say again, Merry, Merry Christmas to everyone, to all my colleagues, to everyone in the Bahamas, and I wish everyone a prosperous, joy-filled, and productive and healthy 2018. Thank you very much, sir.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Marathon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Notwithstanding the podium, I promise to be brief, but before I begin, I didn't want to add to the anxiety of my colleagues. But before I begin, though, I would be remiss if I didn't also join in expressing my condolences to the family of Ashley Cargo, who lived in Marathon, and of course the Cargo family I'm closely connected with. And that being said, I also want to wish a happy birthday to Gilbert Petty and DeVardo Stubbs. Enjoy your day. Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to bring season's greetings to the Marathon from the Marathon constituency to you and your families and the families of all my colleagues and all the citizens and residents of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. This is the time of year when we tend to put aside our cares and our stresses as much as possible and join in the traditional Christmas and New Year's festivities. This is the time of year when we attempt to be the best versions of ourselves. It is a time of focus on the possibility of community and career, on faith and family. During this period of celebration, Mr. Speaker, and socializing with friends and family, it is easy to forget that there are some of us who, through no fault of their own, have been reduced to the lowest ebb of poverty and are anything but well off. More particularly, Mr. Speaker, there are the children who do not have the attention, the basic food and comforts that they need and that they so deserve. We must all remember them and ensure that their situation is improved. And this is a collective responsibility that we all share. Let us also remember those families through personal or financial circumstances find it especially difficult to share fully in the joys of Christmas. Let us hope that we can use whatever resources we have to lighten the burden of our brothers and sisters. To our Marathon constituents and to my Marathon family, I join you as we celebrate the successes of 2017 and embrace its challenges as lessons. Collectively, let us honor the birth of our Lord and his stories of promise and possibilities. My brothers and sisters, as we anchor our faith and lift our imagination in the transformative mission of Christ, friends, dare to dream and work with me for a new vision of Marathon in 2018. In the coming year, we look forward to continually meeting and talking with many of you in person as we continue the work of the Ministry of Environment and Housing and as we continue our work on a constituency level. And for now, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to wish, more particularly, all the members of the Ministry of Environment and Housing, all the citizens and residents of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, a very Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. I believe we have about 6 more who may wish to speak, and we have about 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Golden Isles.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Today I rise, standing on the shoulders of the fine people of the great constituency of Golden Isles, bounded by Golden Isles Road to the east, and Adelaide Gardens to the west, and west of Anna Grant Close, the coastline to the west, and of course, Dignity Gardens to the south, Dignity Gardens on the northern side. Extending Christmas greetings and best wishes for a happy and healthy, prosperous new year to all of the fine constituents in Golden Isles, those in the Golden Isles Constituency Association, to the Golden Isles Constituency Office, Ms. Portia, Ms. Delva, and of course joining the minister on whom I served, Minister Roll, in extending holiday greetings to the hard-working, dedicated, and committed staff members and employees, social services, the urban renewal, and of course the members of the Commission and all of the urban centers on the island of New Providence and Grand Bahama, and of course the ones that will emerge in many of our family of islands. Mr. Speaker, on Sunday past, we had our first annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony at the roundabout of Coral Harbor, and we know in the book of Genesis, Almighty God said, "Let there be light," and on Sunday past, with the powers invested in me as the Member of Parliament, I declared, "Let there be Christmas lights." And Christmas lights came. This coming Saturday, by God's grace, in Bacardi Park, beginning from 1 to 4 p.m., we shall be having our annual Christmas party. Of course, the annual food, drinks, and of course, face painting and bouncing castle, and Derek Adams and Charlie the Yellow Bahamian will be there. And of course, there'll be some other attractions. And then following that on Sunday, Mr. Speaker, we will all make our way to the Transformation Ministry Cathedral in Dignity Gardens, where the presiding bishop, who is watching by television, Bishop Ellis Farrington Sr., and his wife, Mama Daisy Farrington, will be there. And of course, the pastor is Dr. Sharon Roll. We're looking forward to having a wonderful time with them. Again, in the new year, of course, we're looking for new things. And among the new things, I'm thankful that an urban renewal center will be established in Golden Isles. Also, I wish to thank the Minister of Education in advance. Grounds will be broken for the establishment of a new state-of-the-art primary school in Golden Isles. But also, I am looking forward to the removal of the dump. I wish to thank the Minister of Housing and the Environment. It should have happened this year. Hopefully it'll happen before Christmas. If not, in the new year, that dump must be gone. And I wish to thank you in advance for that. And also, and say at the same time, the Minister of Housing and his chairman, Mr. Cartwright for St. Barnabas, I thank you. Some 40 contracts for verges disappeared, but he has assured me maybe not all 40 will be restored, but a goodly number of that 40 shall be restored. You're looking at me strange, St. Barnabas. Okay, and certainly, also we're looking forward to the establishment of the Golden Isles Entrepreneurial Village. And of course, we're looking forward to more jobs and more economic opportunities that will happen I can't divulge too much of it, but 2 properties to be established in the Great Golden Isles constituency, of course, to increase the employment opportunities for a number of our constituents. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And again, best wishes for joyous and happy holidays to you, all of my parliamentary colleagues, to those in the gallery likewise, and of course, to the entire Commonwealth of the Bahamas, from Grand Bahama in the north, to Bimini, to Inagua, and to Maiguana in the deep south. God bless you all. May Almighty God continue to bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and make the wealth more common. God bless you all.
chair recognizes the honorable member for Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, it's a great day, and it's a profound pleasure of mine just to stand here in this honorable house, just to say a special thank you to God Almighty first for allowing me to have my first Christmas here in this house. And I want to give God praise and thanks because I understand that everything that happens not just by chance, but by predestination. And to this end, I want to take this time to wish our Prime Minister and his family a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. My Minister, Minister Wells, and his family, the awesome people, the professionals at BAIC for a job well done and where I've served for the past from August to present. And also the fine people, the great people, the proud, resilient people of the Michael constituency who had given me this privilege and this honor to serve them. And I want to encourage them according to the Word of God, from the Word of God, and we know that all things will still work together for good to them who are called by God and to them that love God. And I'm looking forward for a better, brighter, prosperous new year for the Michael constituency. As you know, we just came out of a hurricane and there's still needs, and so this time I would hope that we remember those persons in all of the islands, even included in the Commonwealth, those less fortunate ones, those persons who perhaps have lost their jobs, those persons perhaps who are not looking forward to Christmas for whatever reasons, those persons who feeling discouraged. I want to encourage them that the best is yet to come. And so I want to say to God be the glory on behalf of my family. I want to say to the Michael constituency, thank you so much for allowing me to be your voice in here. And with the help of God, we know that things will work out fine. And so again, I want to thank our government for an awesome job that it's doing. Our leader, our Prime Minister, the visionary, the man who God has ordained for us to lead us in this time. Sir, Mr. PM, my Prime Minister, my leader, I'm wishing you all the best. Good health, prosperity, and the peace of God to strengthen you as we take this country into another 4 years plus. Merry Christmas to you, my colleagues and my friends. God bless you, and compliments of the season. And remember that Jesus Christ is the reason for the season.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for North Eleuthera, but just before the honorable member for North Eleuthera, the member for Central and South Eleuthera wish to make an announcement.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for allowing me. I would just like to, in the midst of my speech, I got carried away a little bit and I did not inform my residents as to what's happening in the constituency. That's how life is sometimes. Senator will be visiting every community in that district in the next couple of days. I don't have the exact day yet, but we will be coming through the various communities. And then our Christmas party for the kids is going to be scheduled within the next week or two because there's just so much activities going on throughout that constituency. We have yet to schedule a day for that. But I also want to remind the residents of Hatchet Bay and Jameston in particular, this Monday night, the 18th at St. Catharines, I expect to see every resident in Hatchet Bay in particular to that meeting. This is a town meeting which will be held in the Hatchet Bay area. Hatchet Bay, you asked for it, you got it. I'll see you on Monday.
Thank you, honorable member. The chair recognizes the honorable member for North Eleuthera.
Mr. Speaker and members of this honorable House, it is indeed a privilege to be here and to stand for those people of North Eleuthera who have sent me here. But first allow me the opportunity to also extend condolences to the family of Ashley Cargill. I recall prior to moving back to Eleuthera in '93, he and I were business partners. So it was a very bitter moment when I was informed of his passing yesterday. I also want to extend condolences to the family of
Mrs. Frances Bullitt, who will be laid to rest this coming Saturday. Having said that, I'd like to now extend Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all the people of North Eleuthera and the extended Bahamas. Like my colleague, Mr. Johnson, the uniqueness of being a Family Island Member of Parliament is that you represent so many townships or communities. And in doing so, it's hard to keep a handle on all of the townships, especially around the Christmas period, because everybody wants to have their functions basically the same time. But having said that, we are mindful of the purpose or the reason for Christmas. And we want to be cognizant of what that means to some families and how to some it may be a joyful moment or opportunity. And then there to some, they think that nobody cares. But we know Christ came and he showed us that he cared, and he reached out to us and gave us purpose for living. But we too have a purpose to serve in this country and in our communities, and reaching out to our people and in our communities. And for those of us who do it on a daily basis, and those of us who are assisted in the Family Islands by our local government councils and town committee chairmen, I want to thank them, especially the ones that are in my district, and also the ones that are in your district, for the tireless efforts that they make to ensure that our communities are much better. And so for the people of North Eleuthera, while we have plotted out a pathway for progress going forward, we wish you to join in with us. And all of those things that we have desired to see accomplished in our communities, through the help of our government and our God, we will move forward. And so I say to you today, and to the entire Bahamas, that you have a Merry Christmas, and make sure keep the Christ in Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Yamacraw.
I rise on behalf of the phenomenal people of the Yamacraw constituency to bring Christmas greetings to this honorable house, to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and in turn, on behalf of my family and I, especially my wife, to the people of Yamacraw. Mr. Speaker, it is indeed a pleasure, a distinguished privilege, and a blessing to stand here, as was said by the member for Angliston, on my first Christmas in this honorable place, having been given the honor to serve my country. And so on behalf of my family, on behalf of the good people of Yamacraw, I extend Christmas greetings to my leader, to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Most certainly I want to recognize those fine old ladies who are so near and dear to me. And I see Cat Island, Rumkins, and Salvador is not here, and I know you wouldn't mind if I make mention of my aunts and my mother, all from Dowd's Cat Island, and especially to my mom, who was recently hospitalized and now she's out. Mr. Speaker, I'll just say one word, and it has been echoed through this house today: the reason for the season. And when Christ walked among mere men, he identified two of the greatest commandments. One was to serve our God with all our heart, mind, soul, body, and strength, and our neighbors as ourselves. And I think one of the main reasons that he came was he came to rescue us and to save us. And I note that not just Bahamians, the less fortunate in our society, there are less fortunate persons who are coming to our shores. So I pray that as we celebrate the Christ that came to us, we would recognize the less fortunate in our society. And once again, all the best for the Christmas and the New Year's. God bless.
Thank you, honorable member. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Bamboo Town.
Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. I will be brief, as I'm always fond of rising in this place and saying, I give all praise and thanks, Mr. Speaker, to the one true God, as the Chinese would say, Shangdi. They called him Shangdi, the Lord of Heaven. Mr. Speaker, in the fullness of time, the Apostle Paul said that he sent forth his Son into the world, born of a virgin, born under the law, that he may redeem us from the curse of the law, so that we may all be called the sons of God. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to say to the good people of Bamboo Town, and by extension, to the good people of this country, the Bahamas, a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year from my family to theirs. Mr. Speaker, I thank them for the wonderful gift that they gave me again this year in having re-elected me to this place, Mr. Speaker. I take that as no mere measure, as they have sent me here to be their representative, to be their voice, the voice of their will and their values, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, let me also extend a warm Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to the staff at the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resource, and by extension, BAIC, BAMSI, and BASFRA. They are a fine group of persons, Mr. Speaker, and the leadership of the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resource and those various agencies have done a yeoman's task and a fantastic job in moving that industry forward into the country to do the things that we ought. You know, Mr. Speaker, in closing, the Lord said to Moses that when you stand before the people and to bless the people of Israel, that you should bless them saying thus. And I say this to the people of this country, that the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. So peace and goodwill to all men. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, honorable member. Just before the honorable member for Carmichael, the chair recognizes Tall Pines.
Thank you very much, Mr.
You have
Speaker.
20 seconds.
Less than that, Mr. Speaker. I was trying to stay within the time conference earlier. I just omitted, Mr. Speaker, to say to the people of Tall Pines that we will, like other constituencies, will be having our Christmas party. I tried to, Mr. Speaker, I tried to stay within the time frame. On Saturday at our constituency office, number 42 Faith Avenue, from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Santa will be there at 4 o'clock. So Tall Pines, Santa would also be in the great constituency of Tall Pines. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, honorable member. Let me also likewise announce the Christmas party for the people and the children of Nassau Village. Now, we plan to have our Christmas party on the 30th of December because we want to do it a day before we move into the new year. And so on Jonathan Square at 2 p.m. on the 30th of December, there will be gifts, games, food, and unleaded drinks for the children of Nassau Village. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Carmichael.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, when the honorable member for Garden Hill spoke, he indicated that he represented the gateway to the south. I represent the destination. Carmichael, the great constituency of Carmichael. And I want, on behalf of the wonderful people of Carmichael, of Flamingo Gardens, Bel Air, Golden Gates number 2, Silver Gates, Faith Avenue, Emerald Gardens, to wish them a wonderful and blessed Christmas. Also, Mr. Speaker, all of the responsibilities that I have as Minister of Public Works, including the ministry itself, the Water and Sewage Corporation, Bahamas Power and Light, Bridge Authority, Straw Market, Town Planning, NRRU, and other agencies. I want to thank all of those wonderful, outstanding public servants and those who work for the corporations who've given so much to facilitate change this year, to facilitate improvement, and the manner in which we serve the Bahamian public. Two more things, Mr. Speaker. We started our Christmas at the Gerald Cash Primary School last week with the annual Carmichael Gerald Cash Christmas tree lighting ceremony, which is a wonderful tradition in our part of the world, the destination. Gerald Cash Primary School is so very, very special. It is great. It has developed so many of our young leaders in this country. And we were able to provide them with computers. We were able to provide 20 computers to start with. And we promised that we are going to provide every classroom with a computer. And we also have indicated that this coming year we will ensure, I'm responsible for building this new primary school out on Carmichael Road, which is going to be air conditioned. And so I promised them that I'm going to air condition every single classroom at Gerald Cash, so our children can learn in an atmosphere that's conducive to learning. And we're going to use our constituency funds to do that. Speaker, we were at Andy Gar Preschool the other night, and the foundation of learning for our children in preschool. I was so heartened to see what the children are doing there. And we were able, from our constituency funds, also to be able to provide a lot of their needs. So that preschool, we're going to see some of those young people as leaders. And so the logical extension of that, sir, is that on this Saturday, for all the children who have been nice, who the elf on the shelf tells me have been behaving themselves this year, Carmichael is going to have our party at the Bel Air Park. And we're looking forward to having children from all those communities come and enjoy what's going to be the first party in Carmichael in 5 years. The first Christmas party in Carmichael in 5 years. You don't believe, it is so amazing. It is so sad. But we are going to restart the tradition that we left off 5 years ago. Mr. Speaker, the colleagues here. Albert Schweitzer, Nobel Prize winner, said this, and I quote, "I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I do know, the ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve." In 2018, colleagues, let's work together to serve. We have a country that needs the service that we give, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you as we continue to serve the Bahamian people. I pray that all of you will have a bountiful and blessed Christmas. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Yamacraw.
Not a problem. I crave your indulgence. Everybody's making mention of the parties. I will not be giving out any turkey and ham, but I just want everybody to know that on the 22nd, Friday the 22nd, at the library just next to the Elizabeth Estates Police Station, we'll be having a Christmas party. So we're inviting all of the residents, especially the hometown boy, to be there. He's one of my greatest, to be there. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Kalani.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, seems I'm the last individual to speak. First of all, everybody, Mr. Speaker, talking about their constituency, but I want to remind them that I represent half of New Providence, the rest. I also want to remind them that their lifeline depends on the West, and that the airport falls within Kalani, the power station falls within Kalani, and the port, Clifton Pier, which delivers their fuel, falls within Kalani. But, Mr. Speaker, I would like to, first of all, extend condolence to Ashley Cargill's family. And I want to also wish the entire Bahamas a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I want to remind them that Christmas season, we all are in the partying mood. And I want to remind them that they must be very careful with what is happening on the streets with motor vehicle accidents, etc. We would like all Bahamians to be back here and return for the New Year, as the signs at the graveyard continuously say we can wait. And I'm certain they can certainly wait, Mr. Speaker. But I also want to remind them that they must be very vigilant of their surroundings. As this is Christmas time, there is a tendency for theft and other violent behavior. And therefore, they must be very, I ask the entire Bahamas to be very vigilant of their surroundings, buying cars, etc., purchase of Christmas gifts. And Mr. Speaker, I want to extend Christmas greetings, especially to all of those that falls within the portfolio of the Prime Minister. That is, all of my staff at the Office of the Prime Minister, those at Lands and Survey, the Office of Cabinet, Government Printing, and best, only best. Only best. So as it's clear, and I want to inform Galani that for the past 7+ years, we've been tortured with the rigors and the problems we face in our West Bay Street corridor. And I've been informed and reassured by the Minister of Works here that Kalani can be assured that by next Christmas, our West Bay Street corridor will be repaired. And he's also with water also. And he's also assured me that I can send a message out to those in Twin Lakes, but he can't give a date. That day too will be, their problems would likewise be resolved. So I want to thank Minister of Works for being very...
And
Munnings Drive also. I would not state the problems with Munnings Drive at this particular time, but those at Munnings Drive know exactly what we're talking about, and their issues would be resolved. But again, Mr. Speaker, I want to send a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year out to the entire Bahamas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Further member statements? Appointment of Select Committee. Instruction to Select Committee. Discharge of Select Committees. Notices for future meetings. Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Angleston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to give notice of the following questions of the Prime Minister. Will the Prime Minister advise whether employees hired by the Bahamas government under the Job Empowerment Program are being accorded the statutorily mandate conditions of employment under the Employment Act, namely, inter alia, sections 10, 11, and 12 of that Act, relative to payment of overtime, access to sick leave and vacation leave respectively, and if not, why not? Secondly, there's just two questions for Prime Minister, this is for the Minister of Health. Will the Minister of Health advise why select employees at the new Abaco Mini Hospital are either not being paid in a timely manner or not at all? Will he advise this Honorable House when these employees can expect to be paid for work performed? And finally, Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister advise whether he is concerned of the apparent or perceived conflict of interest by the generous sponsorship of the Grand Bahama Port Authority of a Christmas party hosted by 5 government members of Parliament, including ministers of the government, particularly in light of the promised generous concessions in the bill now pending in this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order that the questions be brought up. Order that the questions will lie on the table. Notices for future meetings.
Notice of future meeting. Response to.
Oh.
Can I respond?
No, that's questions to Prime Minister.
No, but I
That's Prime Minister's question.
Notice.
Mr. Speaker, I would just like to note that all questions standing in the name of Majesty's loyal opposition would remain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Bamboo Town.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to renew all matters in the name of the government and to signal that the House I move that the House do adjourn until January 17th, 2018 at 10 a.m.
Second.
It has been moved and second that the business of the House do adjourn to the 22nd of January,
17th of January.
the 17th of January,
2018
2018
at 10 a.m.
at 10 a.m. As many as are in favor will remain seated. Those who oppose will stand. Final adjournment.
Mr. Speaker, I do now move that the House adjourns.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the business of this House do adjourn to 10 a.m. 17th of January 2018. The business of the House stands adjourned. As many as in favor will remain seated. Those who oppose will stand. The motion is carried and the business of this House stands adjourned to the 17th of January 2018 at 10 a.m.